Hey everybody, welcome to a behind-the-scenes look at the recording of this week's Geared Up episode. I'm Todd Bishop.
I'm Andru Edwards.
We are going to talk about a lot of stuff this week,
We have a lot to talk about. What do we got today?
We are going to be talking about a new smart scale and combination. This is yours, Andrew.
One of the things we're talking about, we have a lot to talk about today, is this combination from Nokia Health that aims to let you monitor your fitness both on the go and at home in a better, more connected way.
You've been trying this out.
I've been testing this out for the past month or so, yes.
Okay, so we're going to find out more about that. I have been making a big shift in my own life to Windows, back to Windows. I'm back, baby, from Mac after about a decade on Mac. So we'll talk about that. Plus, we'll be talking about the latest rumors of Apple getting into virtual and augmented reality.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't even know what that's about.
Yeah, exactly.
VR, you mixing VR, AR into a headset from Apple. Tim Cook says it's the next big thing. We'll see.
We'll check that out. So with that, we're going to dive into the recording. If you want to subscribe to the audio of Geared Up, don't forget to go to Apple Podcasts or wherever you subscribe. I've been listening a lot lately on Overcast.
Overcast is my favorite podcast app. In fact, I told you about it roughly 2 years ago.
That's how these things work.
And you just started using it about a month ago.
I came in and I said, Andrew, did you know how good this app is?
Right.
All right. So with that, let's jump in. Welcome to Geared Up from GeekWire.com in Seattle. I'm Todd Bishop.
Hello. Brought to you by National Car Rental.
That's right. Welcome to Geared Up, brought to you by National Car Rental. I'm Todd Bishop.
I'm Andru Edwards.
Hey, we are going to be talking about some of our favorite devices this week, things that Andrew and I have been using for quite a while now, a couple weeks in my case and more than a month in your case with what we're going to talk about. Andrew's been testing out a combination Nokia smart scale and watch, right?
Yeah, fitness tracking watch, so together, the goal is to be more connected to your health.
Awesome. So we're going to get into that. I got lots of questions for you about that, Andrew. Plus, I've made the shift back to Windows from Mac after about a decade on the Apple platform in terms of my laptop. Nuts. So we're going to talk about that and what's been good, what's been bad, and maybe tips for other people who want to do the same, or a cautionary tale for people who might be thinking about it. I've got pluses and minuses that we want to talk about. And we're going to be jumping in and talking about Apple's move, potentially, into virtual reality.
Okay.
All that and more coming up this week on Geared Up. So let's jump in first with this fitness tracking setup that you've got here, Andrew. What is this?
So I've been testing out two products from Nokia Health. Nokia actually bought a company called Withings. You ever heard of them before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Withings was purchased by Nokia and rebranded as Nokia Health. And so there's two products here. I've been testing out this smartwatch. This is called the Nokia Steel HR. The HR stands for heart rate. I'll let you hold that. If you look at it, if you look at the face, it actually doesn't look like a smartwatch, right?
Yeah.
It looks like a standard watch.
It looks like a standard analog watch, not even digital. And it's got behind the minute and hour hand a couple different things. One's like a dial with 100% on it. And then what is that? It's like a... Is that like a solar panel?
Screen. That's a digital screen. So if you start pressing the side button, you can pull up different stats, and you can also get like alerts on your watch as well. So it is a smart watch, but it's supposed to be minimalist. So for people who don't want an actual display screen on their wrist, they can have something that looks more like a watch that they can still get notifications and information from.
So what do you think of this so far?
So if you look at the back, actually, you'll see a bunch of sensors on there. You've got the heart rate monitor. The other nice thing about this watch versus, let's just say, something like the Apple Watch will last 2.5 to 3 days on a charge. This watch, the battery lasts 25 days.
25 days. That's quite a bit longer than, for example, my Fitbit.
Right.
In terms of the overall battery life.
So if you go on vacation or whatever and you forget your charger, you're probably going to be safe because as long as you're not going on vacation on day 24.
I like the band. The band is, I know it's rubber.
It's rubber, but it's like a comfortable rubber.
Exactly.
And they have different bands. You can swap them out to be, if you want different colors or whatever. And then it's got the heart rate monitoring.
Do you know how much this one costs?
Yes, this one is $180.
So this watch is $180.
$180 with everything that we just talked about. And also it does like the typical step tracking and, all that kind of stuff. Just the bare, those whatever a Fitbit would do, this would do as well.
I assume it syncs to an app on your phone?
Correct. So there's the Nokia Health app, which this will sync with, and everything that this tracks obviously will get synced back to your phone. So including your heart rate. So during the day, if you do a workout, you can see how your heart rate went up or down. Some people said like during the Super Bowl, people would see their heart rate spiking depending on like where you were located in the country, and if it was your team playing or if you were really invested in one of these teams, it actually would show your spikes and dips in your heart rate. So it's actually very accurate. It's actually doing a good job. So that is the Nokia Steel HR.
Got it.
Minimalist watch that does all the typical fitness tracking stuff with heart rate monitor built in and swim tracking as well, water resistant. So that's part one. Then part two is this right here. This is Nokia's body composition Wi-Fi scale. Now this is actually pretty cool. Now you were saying before we started, why would I want a scale that connects to Wi-Fi if I can just step on a scale and just see my weight, right?
This is my dilemma. And in fact, I've been looking at my old bathroom scale and thinking, I really want to upgrade this thing. And I wrestle. Inside my head, I'm like, but you don't need one. You step on it, it gives you the readout, you see where your weight is, and you move on. Why do I need more? And I have a hunch you're going to give me the answer.
Yes, it's all built into the scale. So I'm going to give you the answer. So first of all, for me, if I were to step on a scale that wasn't smart, just any typical scale, I'm not going to remember, unless I have like a notepad or something, where I was, 21 days ago. Where was I 3 weeks ago? Today versus today. I don't know, unless I have some sort of, I'm not going to remember every time I weigh in. With this, obviously it's going to remember. So you get on the scale, it weighs you, it syncs to the cloud, it syncs to your phone. You can go in. I know you're an Excel guru. You love Excel, you love charts, graphs.
Yes, certainly. I wouldn't say guru quite. I haven't quite mastered the pivot table yet.
I will go into the app and it'll show me a line graph. Here's where you've been. When you step on the scale, actually you can see right here on the box. When you step on the scale, it'll show you your weight, but then it'll also show you, okay, here's what you've lost since last time. And this is a line graph of the last 8 weigh-ins.
It's like a fever chart.
Yeah, so you can see where you've been over the last 8 times, but you can also see over time. Feel free to open that up, by the way.
Yeah, so this is the Body Plus. Is that what this one's called?
This is the Nokia Body Plus Wi-Fi scale. Now, aside from weight, this will also measure your fat mass. So the percentage of your body, which is fat versus not fat. It'll tell you your muscle mass percentage, so the percentage of your body that's muscle. It'll tell you your water percentage, and it'll tell you your bone mass. And it's going to tell you all this on the display, and it'll sync everything. It's actually pretty nice, right? Like
do you remember that thing with the Wii where you would stand on it?
Oh,
what was that thing
the
called?
fitness board.
Yeah, the fitness board. It kind of, maybe the shape is, this is square. I think that might have been.
It was a rectangle
but
and
still,
plastic.
It kind of makes me, it sort of has that feel to it.
But this is nice. This is a nicer glass instead of a plastic.
Yeah.
But again, so all those different measurements it's giving you. So it's not just about your weight. It's really trying to give you a whole look at your entire body composition, if you will, over time.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you have a scale, most people are going to use it, right? This will support up to 8 people, different people, and it will automatically know who's stepping on the scale.
Okay.
So, I mean, I believe it does that through the weight. So if you weigh roughly the same as someone else, it'll probably have a more difficult time. It'll actually ask you who was stepping on the scale. But like if I step on the scale and my wife steps on the scale, we don't have to say, oh, this is Andrew. Like it just knows your general weight. So
unless
who it is.
Somebody lost, 40 pounds overnight or something.
Yeah,
in which case you got a bigger problem than
which
your
is
scale.
weird. And then battery. So this runs on 4 AAAs, and the battery life is 18 months.
Wow.
Yeah, a year and a half. 4 AAAs, really a year and a half. So this one sells for $100. Comes in black and white.
And that is actually cheaper than one of the most popular Fitbit scales, the Aria 2, which sells for about $130, if I'm not mistaken. So this is really an interesting one. Now, does it only work in conjunction with the watch, or can you use it on its own?
Oh, you can buy this on its own. You can buy the watch on its own without the scale.
Let me ask you this. Has this changed your behavior?
I think any smart fitness tracker will change behavior. So in other words, Nokia has made a good system here, but I don't think in order to change your behavior, you need to buy the Nokia system. But just being more aware of what you're doing throughout the day. How many times have you stood up today? How, even if you look and you see, oh, I've walked, 1.8 miles. Well, let me see if I can get to 2. Like, just that kind of stuff kind of does give you a different perspective on what you've been doing and kind of pushes you a little bit to just achieve a little more.
It does. I've been using a Fitbit now for about 3 months, and I got to say, it initially had that impact on me where it was a game for me. I had to get to my 10,000. Right. It's amazing how many steps 10,000
It is, yeah. Well, for people like us who work in an office and sit down a lot, because there's also people who are like, I see like, they'll hit like 50,000 in a day, like just on average. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, how are you doing this?
I don't believe that.
No, I've seen, trust me.
It's an exaggeration.
I'm like, no exaggeration. I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, well, I work on my feet all day, plus I go for a walk to lunch and I walk back from lunch, and I'm like, wow, I just sit at my desk all day.
See, to me though, as time has gone on, it's been more of a gut check in just how bad I suck. It's like, oh right, yep, wow, 500 steps.
Wow.
Boy,
well, I'm not wearing this tomorrow.
It's 4 o'clock. Yeah, I'm leaving that at home. I did actually, I quote, accidentally left it at home today.
Okay.
So I mean, I think you still, this still comes down to good old-fashioned human perseverance, I think.
That's true. One thing I do want to say about Fitbit, though, we were talking earlier also, I'm not a big fan of Fitbit.
Why not?
Fitbit tries to keep everything in their walled garden. You have to go through the Fitbit app for everything. So Apple, if you use iPhones like you and I do, they have the Health app, the Health platform. Anyone can tie their products into that so that they can read or write to or from the Health app if you allow them to do so. Fitbit doesn't even allow you to pull in the data into the Health app. Nokia does. So you can use, like if you wear this watch, not only will it show up in the Nokia app, but it'll also show up in the Apple's Health app with all your other stuff. So if you have, let's say, diabetes or something, and you're tracking that in the Health app, you can then also pull in your steps and anything, your weight, all that into one interface. So I really appreciate any company, not just Nokia, that actually keeps their data open for you to use in other ways.
And the practical impact, as you're alluding to, is you can get multiple different types of devices as long as all of them support that Apple Health app.
Correct.
And then you can just have all your data in one place.
Yep.
All right, so this week on Geared Up, we are talking about some of the gadgets and devices that Andrew and I have been using lately. Sounds like you're a fan of this whole approach with Nokia.
Yeah, I like it. I recommend it. The watch is good if you're into minimalism. If you're not, if you want something that's more, flashy or smart, then maybe it's not for you. But if you just want to track your health, go with this.
So remind folks again, it is the Body Plus.
Body Plus scale, $99. And this is the Nokia Steel HR, $179.
All right, good stuff. We will be right back on Geared Up talking about my favorite new Windows laptop. That's coming up next. Welcome back to Geared Up, brought to you by National Car Rental. And in fact, it is time for the National Car Rental Story of the Week.
Yes, Geared Up is brought to you by National Car Rental. Go national, go like a pro. And by the way, I also do a show called Technically Speaking with National Car Rental, where I talk about the best tech and gear for business travel.
That's right. You can find that on the Control Center at nationalcar.com or youtube.com/nationalcarrent.
Yes, the latest tech puts you in the driver's seat of your travel experience. National Car Rental's free Emerald Club will keep you there.
Awesome. So this week's National Car Rental Story of the Week. It's my shift back to Windows.
This is a big one. I don't even know what to say about this. This is crazy.
So we wanted to talk this week on the show about some of the favorite devices and gadgets we've been using lately. And I got to say, I have made a big move back to Windows.
That is a big move.
And it was driven by a device. I was in my neighborhood Costco actually picking up a ThinkPad from Lenovo, an X1 Carbon, for a new employee that we had at GeekWire. And I saw the device and I was like, I had a ThinkPad back in the day. This thing looks amazing. I got to at least try it out. And so Costco, as you know, has a 90-day return policy on hardware, on electronics. So I was like, I got 90 days to figure out if this thing's right for me. I got to tell you, within 3 or 4 days, I was like, I am dumping my MacBook Pro.
This is crazy.
Going back to Windows because of this device. Now, I got to say, it is not perfect. There are some issues with this thing that I've dealt with. But overall, I really like it.
Is that the problem?
Windows actually I like that. We can talk about all this.
Yes.
So here's number one, the thing that I look for in a laptop personally, is the keyboard. You're typing so much that this is just a key thing for me. So
a key thing.
A key thing. I actually like the Lenovo keyboard, the ThinkPad keyboard, better than I like the sort of more flat MacBook Pro keyboard.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of problems with the MacBook Pro keyboard that I've been seeing. I actually experienced this early on myself. So the MacBook Pro and the MacBook non-Pro have the new butterfly keys, which are super susceptible to like anything getting in there. Like even a piece of dust can disable a key, and you can't just pop the key out like you could on any other computer and spray it out and put it back on. It's like you have to take it in to Apple to get it fixed.
I actually had firsthand experience with this. So the L key on my MacBook started sticking.
Okay.
And so I was playing around with it. I did a lot of searching online. There's actually a support article from Apple that contends at least you can use compressed air to essentially blow out underneath the key, and it'll get rid of whatever's making it stick. I didn't try that because I didn't see that support article in time. I tried prying off the butterfly key, and can you guess what happened?
It broke?
It broke.
Oh, man.
So there's actually an online site that allows you to order new keys. So I had the L key shipped to me for about $15.
That's an expensive key.
In the meantime, I took the function key and swapped it over.
So you broke the function key off?
No, I took the function key. I actually did not break that one. I took it off, and so I was typing, all my L's were, I was hitting the function key where the L was supposed to be.
I can't blame you for that. Like the keyboard here looks like an actually decent keyboard.
It's a very good keyboard. So here's problem number one. The trackpad on almost every Windows notebook, laptop is substandard.
Why is this? Why is this?
I have a couple theories. I think this is a long time lingering legacy of the fact that the company that makes the operating system is not the company that makes the hardware.
Right.
In this case, obviously Microsoft makes Surface devices, and actually I think the Surface Book, Microsoft's notebook, is actually getting close to solving this problem. Now, here's the thing. The Lenovo Trackpad, overall, I like it.
Okay.
And it works fairly well. I would say it's maybe a B overall compared to an A+ with the glass trackpad on the MacBook Pro. My issue is that it does this really quirky thing when I'm trying to highlight any text. It basically lets me go about 2 lines or 2 paragraphs down, and then it freezes when I'm using the trackpad. So here's the thing, though.
That makes no sense.
So it's still usable. I also use the little button that they do, and that works okay. I can do it. What I've done, and I have mixed feelings about this. I've gone back.
There's no positive.
I've gone back to a mouse.
Show them what you're doing.
Yeah, I've gone back to a mouse.
He's using a wireless mouse full time with a laptop.
Yeah, and you know what? I like it. I actually feel really good sitting here with my mouse. I don't know what it is. Something ergonomically, I realized this afternoon, something ergonomically about constantly using your thumb on the keyboard. If there's something more ergonomic about being somewhat parallel with your arms to the device.
Well, I guess the thing with the MacBook Pro is the trackpad. Look at the trackpad. It's so huge that you can stay in an ergonomic position and have both thumbs on the trackpad.
Absolutely. Well, at any rate, I really like the mouse. To me, the key on a mouse is getting one where you can't hear the button click, at least not across the room. So here, this is one of the Microsoft optical mice, and I made sure I spent a little bit more money just to get it because it's obnoxious to be sitting in the office and all you hear is this mouse click.
Okay, let me see this for a second. So this is the ThinkPad what again?
This is the ThinkPad X1 Carbon.
Okay.
It sells at Costco. I got it for roughly $1,800. It has,
It is thin.
Yeah, it is super thin.
This is thin.
In terms of traveling, so I took it on a trip to Washington, D.C. I got to say, it was way easier to travel with than my MacBook Pro 13-inch.
Wow.
And this is a 14-inch screen. I think it's lighter. I have not measured them. I have not weighed them.
It feels very light.
It feels lighter. I got to say, the other thing is, on the MacBook, I do not like, what is this called?
The touch bar.
The touch bar.
Thanks for invoking Siri.
I don't use it.
Thanks for invoking Siri on my touch bar.
I don't like it. Did Siri really just recognize my fingerprint?
That's the Siri button.
Oh, okay.
That's the Siri button.
Okay. I never used it. All I wanted was the standard function keys back, and I just found no utility in it. I think it's sort of a cop-out by Apple in terms of not wanting to do an actual full touchscreen. Now, to be clear, this ThinkPad is not touchscreen either.
Okay.
Obviously, some Windows machines are. Overall, though, I really like this device. It's fast. I can give you a little bit of the specs if you let me look at it. Yeah.
I was going to read off the ports. You've got a Thunderbolt 3 port, USB-C, configuration. You've got USB-C as well.
Yep.
Standard USB, which the MacBook Pro got rid of. You have an HDMI.
Oh, that is a standard USB.
Yes, standard
You're
USB,
right.
Standard HDMI, which also the MacBook Pro got rid of. So the MacBook Pro is all Thunderbolt 3.
Yes.
And this gives you Thunderbolt 3, but also gives you some of the other legacy ports.
Now, I will say one thing I do miss from my original long ago ThinkPad was the SD card reader. That was always really cool to have.
That's always nice to have. I don't know why anyone's getting rid of that, quite honestly. That's not old. That's not like a CD drive. Like, everyone still uses SD cards. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is essentially a return in a lot of ways to the ports. It's got a regular headphone jack. Of course, the MacBook Pro does as well. But overall, I really like this device, and it's been fun for me to really care about the Windows updates again.
Right. Wow. They do take a long time. So, question though.
Yes.
So, for me.
Oh, by the way, it's a Core i7.
Core i7. Okay.
Yes.
So that is comparable to a MacBook Pro versus like a MacBook.
Yeah.
Because the weight of it feels more like a MacBook Air or something rather than the full MacBook.
It does.
But it has the power of the MacBook Pro. So that's nice. For me, I am more akin to choose something for software than for hardware. So I've often said things like, if the Samsung Galaxy S9 ran iOS, that would be the phone I would use, rather than if the iPhone 10 ran Android, I would, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm more about, I need the software that I need, not the hardware. So you making this change, for me, it's harder to grasp because you're not just changing the hardware out, you're actually changing the entire interface of what you're doing.
Or are you?
Or are you? Well, again, I don't know. That's a good question.
Thing.
Okay.
Here's the fascinating thing, and this, I believe, is the manifestation of what Microsoft was concerned about a decade ago.
Okay.
Here's why. I am a heavy Google Apps user. I'm a heavy Chrome user.
Okay.
All I had to do was launch Microsoft Edge and download Chrome and sign in to my Google account, and everything was there. Essentially, Google has succeeded, in my case and in many other cases, in putting a layer on top of the operating system that actually matters more than Windows.
Right.
Now, I got to say, Microsoft did not go down without a fight in my battle, for example. They put up a whole bunch of ads when you search on Edge or Bing for Chrome. They put up a ton of ads like, oh, did you know that Microsoft Edge does this and this and this?
Okay.
There's always if you go back to Edge, they say, realize Edge is not your default. You want to switch back. They put up a fight. That said, for me, it creates this layer of continuity that really actually makes it easier to switch back to Windows.
Right.
So in some ways, it's actually good for Microsoft.
You can switch between.
Right. And I can essentially go day to day. I could pick up a Mac or I could pick up Windows. All my search history is saved, for better or worse.
Right.
This to me is an actually pretty easy switch. There was no pain.
Right. So the difference for someone like you and someone like me then is you work a lot on the web.
Yep.
And the web browser is, for lack of a better term, your operating system.
It
the
is.
Web browser is.
Not entirely. And there were some things where I had to adjust. I have some favorite programs on Mac. My favorite screen capture program, my favorite audio capture program, all these, and video editing. I had to re-download a different version of that for Windows and pay for that. So it's not entirely seamless.
Right.
But for me, with the majority of my stuff in the browser, yes. But for you, I think it would be very different.
For me, it's different because I'm using a lot of actual non-browser-based software. Obviously, I'm in the browser all day too. But if I'm doing, for example, Final Cut, where I'm editing a video, there is no Final Cut for Windows. So not only would I have to, relearn or whatever you want to call it, the operating system, but I have to relearn an entirely new video editing platform, which to me would be way more difficult.
That would be
way more time consuming.
That would be an argument for Adobe.
Right, Adobe. Yeah, Adobe would have to. Exactly. Yep.
Right.
But not as fast.
So that is my favorite gadget of the past month for sure. It is a Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon business laptop, 1080p screen, 14-inch display, 16 gigs of memory, 512 gigs of storage.
That sounds very nice.
SSD.
All of that sounds very nice.
Flash storage.
Are you officially sticking with this because you still have your MacBook Pro?
I do.
Have you officially made the switch, or are you still giving it the 90 days to see if you're gonna?
Let me say this: I kept the box and I kept the receipt.
Okay.
I right now do not see myself turning back.
All right, this is gonna be very interesting.
All right,
we're gonna follow this story.
Speaking of Apple, which we've been talking a lot about in terms of the MacBook, there is a rumor about Apple moving into a completely different realm, and we're going to be getting into that. We're going to be getting into that right around the corner on Geared Up. Welcome back to Geared Up. We're talking about some of our favorite technologies this week. We talked about Andrew's favorite smartwatch and connected scale, and my
fitness tracking.
That's right.
System.
My favorite new laptop, and maybe this will be one of our future favorites. Apple is rumored to be coming out with a new virtual reality.
Why are you laughing?
I don't know, because it's complete fiction right now.
That's true. True.
But it's interesting to talk about because I think it presents an interesting opportunity for Apple. So let's talk about it. CNET reported recently that Apple is coming up with and developing its own VR system. So independent of the iPhone, essentially, they would have a box that would sit on your coffee table with connected VR devices communicating wirelessly with the box. And that is really the big trend in VR and augmented reality, is to shift to these essentially standalone devices that don't have to be tethered by wire to a computer.
Right.
So the wireless part is a big part of that. What do you think about this, Andrew? And can you put it in context of everywhere else Apple has been going with ARKit and augmented reality on iPhone? Do you see this happening?
I see it happen. Well, the thing with Apple is Tim Cook has repeatedly, Apple rarely gives a glimpse into the future. They only tell you about what a lot of companies do this. We talk about products that we've announced. We don't have any comment on future plans or products. That said, Tim Cook seems to be willing to talk about how important AR is to the future of Apple. And so AR, if it's as important as he's been leading on, probably won't just be confined to the iPhone, which right now is iPhone and iPad, but you have to have, this clunky device in front of you to experience AR, and you're only experiencing it on the, on the tiny screen. And AR is really going to take off when you just experience it in, your whole world rather than in a little device you're holding. So it would make sense to me that they are building something where you put on a pair of glasses and then you look through these glasses to see the world around you. And the AR elements are overlaid there. That makes sense. But isn't part of the story also that this is a VR and AR?
It's AR and VR.
And that's where I start getting confused, because VR means it's a virtual reality. So you're stepping into a fake reality. And AR, augmented reality, means we're changing the real world. So how do you do both?
I think you have a camera on it. So in other words, you can either be completely occluded and only see the virtual world, or you have a camera that is then allowing you to lay those digital objects on top of the camera's view of the real world. I assume that's how they're going to do it. But here's the interesting thing. We don't know. And I think this has the potential at least to be another iPhone or iPad moment for Apple. And the reason I'm saying that is, you look at the Oculus, you look at the HTC Vive, they do what they do, but are we going to look at those someday as the VR equivalent of what the BlackBerry was or the Palm Treo was when Apple suddenly came out and said, no, this is what a smartphone is supposed to be. This, to me, is the clearest indication of where Apple is going to be making its next big bet. And I think it's a test for them. If they can come out with something that redefines AR and VR and the whole virtual world in the same way that the iPhone redefined the smartphone, the iPad redefined the tablet, the Mac redefined the personal computer, then I think they're onto something. And I think that they have the potential to essentially extend their legacy beyond Steve Jobs.
Yes, that would be interesting. Because to me, the best product they've done since Steve Jobs has died is the AirPods. Which
really?
And that's like it's a great product. It's
an accessory.
It's an accessory. Every other like the iPhone 10, I like the iPhone 10, but iPhones have existed already. So the real new, the Apple Watch, it's also an accessory in a way, right? So a new standalone product like this could, as you said, be similar to, you know, we've observed an industry, and now here's our take on the industry. I don't think anything ever will be what the iPhone was, though. Like, the iPhone is the best-selling consumer electronic of all time, and I don't think there's ever going to be a product that so many people buy and have with them, because this, you know, it seems like everything else is an accessory to the iPhone. So will this require an iPhone? Will this require, I mean, I don't know, but I don't see as many people buying glasses as I see buying a smartphone.
So the rumor, at least, is that this will have an 8K display on each eye. 8K display on each eye.
Okay.
And then the other thing I would point out is keep an eye on WWDC, June 4th.
This one?
The Worldwide Developer Conference. I think you'll get a sense, at least, for where Apple is headed in this market, if not this actual device. I think it's probably too early to see this device. But
actually,
yes.
Have you seen the WWDC invitation?
No.
Because it is a digital invitation that when you pull it up in your browser is a bunch of AR elements.
Nice.
Yes.
All right. That is Geared Up for this week. For more on anything we talked about, just go to geekwire.com/gearedup. Don't forget to subscribe to Geared Up in Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. And don't forget to review and rate the show. Until next time, I'm Todd Bishop.
I'm Andru Edwards.
Thanks for watching and listening to Geared Up.